testing, making sure this is working because last video it kind of cut out a little bit. Okay, and it is. Greetings and salutations, this is TechRenat here, back with more Sonic. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, near the end of my last Resident Evil Village video that should have gone up the day before this, if I'm not mistaken, there was a couple, like, hiccups with my mic, and, yeah. Oh, hello. This Titan looks a lot cooler than the first one. I'm just gonna say that now. Now, that's no offense to the first Titan. He just kind of has a really basic design, and I'm gonna tell you now, he's the most boring looking Titan between the four. But, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Someplace safe.
Yeah, as I was saying about, like, the first Titan, I think the first Titan looks awesome. Like, I have nothing against the first Titan's design. So when I say the first Titan is the most boring of the four Titans in the game, that's not insulting it by any means. That's actually more so complimenting the other Titans than insulting that one. And honestly, this one right here, which I think is called the Wyvern, it's either the Wyvern or the Leviathan. I forgot which one it is, but I think it's Wyvern. I think this is the Wyvern. I think that's what they call it. The Wyvern and the Titan we meet on the next island have the more interesting and cool design. And honestly, the Titan we meet on the next island has my favorite design. But this Titan has my favorite boss fight. You'll see what I mean when we get there.
You cannot run forever. Final warning. Leave.
That was a warning?
Now we're gonna do the incredibly hard task of talking to Knuckles. Obviously, I'm joking, but yeah. Now, I wanna talk about this game a little bit in depth without spoilers. This is kind of like a mini review for me because I'm not a game reviewer. I don't make game review videos. I don't do journalism to review games. So like, after we speak to Knuckles, I'm gonna give my thoughts on this game, like my final verdict after beating the game and after having almost a whole month at the time of doing this commentary pass since I first played it.
Father was right about you. You're reckless and destructive.
I have no idea what your deal is, but if we could just talk...
No discourse, no bartering, only elimination.
Time out! She attacked you!
Yeah, it's kind of her thing. But she's trying to protect something. Or someone. I'm willing to help, but first I need to know what's going on.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
You're too trusting, Sonic.
No, I'm not. Trust me.
But yeah, I probably don't have much time because I think Pastby might have cut the clips between these. I don't know if Pastby did. It don't really look like it. I'm not really sure. But yeah, my final verdict on this game is this. This is a phenomenal Sonic game. And yes, it has its issues, but I've made the argument before. I'm pretty sure I've said it in a Let's Play video somewhere in the current season of Road On Games. If I were to guess, it's probably... When would I have said it? That's what I'm trying to remember. Because I think it's in one of the Walking Dead Season 1 videos. But it might also be one of the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart videos. I don't know. Those are the last two Let's Plays I did before these two. Like this and Resident Evil Village. It might even be in the Resident Evil Village or an earlier part of this Let's Play, you know? But I'm going to give more details on my final verdict in a second. Cutscenes keep coming up, so I keep having to shut up. Past me, you could have let a little bit more gameplay be spliced in.
Can you see that seal in the center of the pond? If we could pull it out, we could drain the water. The problem is, I'm still ghost-like, and you're useless underwater.
Wow, thanks for the concern. Anyway, if I can jostle the device holding the chain, maybe I can get it to reel it in?
Worth a shot. Just don't slip and fall. I can't haul you out.
Yeah, you might be wondering what my editing process for this Let's Play is, because this is a long-ass game. My Let's Play alone was 21 hours. That's not including me going back to get all the trophies, which I did do. I have the platinum at the time of recording. I spent an extra 9 hours in this game getting the platinum. Went back, got everything. My 12th platinum. I'm not a trophy hunter, which is why I only have 12 platinums. And to be perfectly honest, about 4 of my trophies are from Telltale games, which just give you the platinum for finishing them. The other 8, I'm pretty sure I worked for, but 4 of them are from Telltale games. I know one of them is from Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which I also platinumed earlier this year. Yeah, you can tell when I love a game when I go for the platinum. Now, that being said, I never go for Resident Evil platinums because they always ask you to go in the hardest game mode and beat the game. And I could do hard mode, but the hardest game mode is not it, Chief. It's not it. I never go past hard difficulty in any game because I know I'm about to get my ass kicked. So yeah.
Wait, was draining the Oasis the best idea?
Well, hey, you've revealed the way forward. That's what's important.
Says you. You can't feel this heat. Oh well. Race you to the next emerald.
Anyway, I was getting off topic before that cutscene. Back to my little mini review of this game. Now that I'm pretty sure I actually have enough time to say it, because the next few minutes should just be pure gameplay. No cutscenes, no nothing. I think it's just gameplay. But, yeah. I'll get back to my, topic of my editing process for this game in a moment, because that is also something that I want to talk about in this video, while I have it on my mind. But first, I want to give my little mini review of this game. This game is what I've been wanting from a Sonic game. And combined with what I didn't even know I wanted from a Sonic game. And I'm going to explain what I'm getting at here. What I've been wanting from a Sonic game since Lost World. Because I didn't really realize I wanted all this until Lost World came out and it was kind of mid. You know. Because I like Colors, and I like Generations, and I still like both of them. I honestly think the Colors hate is kind of out of left field. Yeah, the writing kind of sucks, but the levels are fun. The bosses are fun, even though they repeat 3 of them, which it's not a big deal to me, because literally in Unleashed, my favorite Sonic game, 3 of the bosses are the same thing with stuff added on. You know, the Egg Beetle, the Egg Lancer, and the, what was the third one? Egg Manta Ray or something? I don't remember. Egg Devil Ray, I think that's what it was. But those 3 are basically the same boss with extra attacks slapped on and different events spliced in. They're essentially the same boss though, because you beat them the same way. You got a whole big attack in the middle of the front of the robot. You chase them down a path. So the best Sonic games in my opinion, half its bosses are the same boss fight. So Colors repeating 3 different boss fights didn't bother me. But the reason I bring this up is that Colors of Generations didn't make me realize I wanted a couple of the things I'm about to say for this game. I realized I wanted them during when Lost World and Rise of Lyric and the Sonic Boom cartoon and all that was coming out. I kind of realized it then, because that's when, even despite the good writing of the Boom cartoon, that was when I started noticing how bad the writing was in the mainline games. And a little bit in Rise of Lyric, but I blame that on Sega because they kind of rushed the team and made changes almost last minute. And yeah, I don't blame Big Red Button at all for that. That's fully on Sega, so I can let that slide. But what I'm getting at is, that's when I realized I wanted a serious Sonic story again. Because at that point, at the time when Rise of Lyric came out and Sonic Boom Show was coming, we hadn't had a serious Sonic story in 6 years. Last one being Sonic and the Black Knight. And if you want to go by mainline games, Sonic Unleashed. And I'm going by mainline games, that's why I said it had been 6 years since we had a serious Sonic story between Rise of Lyric and Unleashed. Because even though Rise of Lyric is not a mainline game, that is what I'm essentially talking about. I'm using Rise of Lyric as a time frame, not as a game example, because I'm not including it in my argument here. I'm not. What I'm using in my argument is actually the writing for Generations, as fun of a game it may be, and the writing for Lost World. Now, you can sit there and tell me how cringe the Sonic Colors writing is all you want, but at least stuff went down that actually had you paying attention in the Sonic Colors cutscenes. Sure, they may have been bad jokes with a couple actually funny ones thrown in, like Sonic talking to a robot. That actually always made me laugh. And I also enjoyed, like, Sonic making fun of Eggman's dialogue, or not dialogue, monologue before the final boss. Like, both of those are moments that actually genuinely still make me laugh. But the rest of the comedy in the game is kind of trash. Especially Baldy McNose hair. Like, that shit can go on somewhere. But the reason why I'm using Generations and Lost World as an example is because Lost World tried to be a little more serious and fell flat. And Forces only, like, solidified the fact I wanted a more serious story written by more competent writers again. And I'm glad Ian Flynn wrote this game. You could feel that Ian Flynn wrote this game. And I know some people don't like Ian Flynn's writing style. I get that. I understand that. Not everybody's gonna like the way a writer writes. But you cannot sit there and lie to me and tell me that the previous writers are any better than Ian Flynn, no matter how much you may dislike Ian Flynn's writing style. Because mainly the argument I've been seeing about Ian Flynn's writing style is people who are fans of Tales and not liking the direction Tales has been taken. And people who don't like some stuff done in the IDW comics. But the only thing relating to this game is people complaining about Tales. And I'm going to be honest here, I'm not even a Tales fan. And I think this game actually made me care about Tales. Same with Amy. This is the first game in the series that made me like Amy. That is a hard ass task. Because here's the thing, I always enjoyed her a little bit, but once we got around to, like, Generations and Lost World and Forces, I kind of went back to hating her. Because here's how I always thought about her. I hated her at first, because my first exposure to her was the Writers' Games and Heroes. And that's where she's her most annoying. But then after that, I saw how she was at SA2, in Sonic Adventure. I saw how she was in Unleashed. And it just made me like her more. Then we get to Generations, Lost World, and Forces. And her character has nothing. Literally, her one character trait, her one character trait is caring about Sonic. That's it. That's it. That's the whole way she was written. For 3 games in a row. So basically, I went from hating Amy, to liking her a little bit, to hating her again, to loving her character. This game, in my opinion, is peak character writing for her, which is why I mentioned, or I titled an earlier video of this Let's Play, peak character writing. Because I literally think Amy is the best written character in this game, next to Eggman and Sage. I think she's the best hero side character, because, yeah, if you know what happens, that happens later, technically hero side character can be stretched to include more characters in this game, but at the moment of the game we're in, Sage and Eggman are villain characters, so I'm specifically talking about Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Amy, I think, is the best written character in this game, and I think Knuckles is a close second. Sonic here is not the best he's ever been written, but I enjoy it. Especially because they didn't go the IDW route with him. That is something I'm really happy about with Sonic and Eggman in particular, because I do like the way they're portrayed in the IDW comics, but I have certain gripes with the way they're portrayed there, and I'm glad that, like, Ian Flynn kind of went for something closer to how they used to be portrayed, like the adventure games and stuff. Like, Sonic here kind of feels like if you took his SA2 writing, his Unleashed writing, and combined them together, and then matured him a little bit. That's what it feels like. And I feel like that's the perfect mix for Sonic. Because Unleashed Sonic was peak, and that was the most mature he ever acted in a game. But if you take, like, Unleashed Sonic, add a little more maturity, and then add the snarkiness of SA2 Sonic, then you literally have the perfectly written Sonic. But, that being said, there's a reason I didn't say this is the best written he's ever been. I actually do prefer the way he's written in Unleashed. I'm going to tell you that now. But, it's because of how well the way he's written there fits that game. If the way he was written in Unleashed was done in a different game, I feel like it wouldn't have hit the same way. Which is why I think this writing style is the best way to go. Because it's a little versatile. Like, one second he'll make a snarky remark. Next one, he's like got some mature insight. Moment after that, he's just this chill dude. He's just trying to help his friends. You know, that's three traits that I think mix really well for him. And as for Eggman and Sage, their characters I can't go too much in depth with until later. And I know I'm skipping over Tails, but honestly, I think Tails is the weakest of the four hero characters in this game. I know I just said I think this is the best written Tails has ever been, and I think this game actually made me care about Tails a little bit, where I've never really cared about him before now. Except maybe in SA2. Maybe Unleashed. But before now, I never really cared for Tails all too much. That being said, I still think he could be written better. Which is why I think he's the weakest of the four. He's the only one of the four hero characters in this game I can just go, yeah, I see where they're going with this, and I think it's a good direction, but you guys need to kind of step it up in the next game if you want this direction to work, you know what I mean? Because I think Ian Flynn can pull off the direction they're taking Tails really well. But I feel like this game didn't really start it all too well, and you're going to see when we get to the next island what I'm talking about. There are a few moments where I actually can see why certain Tails fans aren't too big on how he's portrayed in this game. Now, do I think their hate is warranted? No. I think they're just bitching and moaning about something that ain't that deep. But, you know, I do agree that it could be better. And I do see certain moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why you guys would be a little miffed at this, but it ain't that deep, bro. It ain't that deep. Now, I went on too long about the characters. I want to talk about the gameplay. I know people complained about the cyberspace stages, but I actually love the cyberspace stages here, and I'm going to tell you why. Do the cyberspaces feel clunky like everybody complains about? Yes. Do they take some getting used to? Absolutely. But once you get used to them, man, they're a whole different ballpark. Once you get used to the jank controls in cyberspace, and this is coming from someone who tried so hard to get used to the jank in both 06 and Forces, and never could get to the point where it felt satisfying to deal with that jank. The jank in the cyberspace levels feels so rewarding to get used to and to abuse. Once you know ways around the jank, like there's certain tactics you can pull off. If you boost at the right time, you won't slow down. If you like go through certain paths, your momentum's not broken. Yeah, Sonic stops on a dime in this game, especially the cyberspace levels. But it works, and I'm gonna tell you why it works. I want to talk about Forces platforming for a minute, and why this game does it much better. Keep in mind, halfway through this game, I cranked my sensitivity to the max. Or not really halfway through it, but later on I cranked my I think on the final island, I cranked my sensitivity to the max. And that definitely helps out a lot. If you got your sensitivity on max with the controls here. Now this is definitely, I'm definitely talking about something that helps with the open world, not really the cyberspace stages, because I don't think the sensitivity changes at all in the cyberspace stages. But it helps a lot in the open world. So if you have any jank there, just crank the sensitivity to max, and it literally feels like you're playing a Sonic Adventure Sonic, but with new moves, and he stops on a dime. But you know, turning feels like a Sonic Adventure Sonic, and you have the sensitivity cranked all the way up. And I wish I knew that from earlier on, because I would have cranked it all the way up to begin with. That being said, I'm going back to cyberspace stages real quick. Once you learn how to bypass the jank and how to do certain tricks to keep your speed, and obviously I haven't learned them yet. You can tell by the way I'm playing this level. I have not learned all these tricks yet. I will learn them later. I think you'll get to see me literally destroy one of the final island cyberspace stages with ease, because it was so much fun. I actually got to like where I wanted to keep replaying it until I could perfect the level. And I'm gonna tell you that now. I have not had that drive ever in the Sonic series. Now I'm gonna tell you this now. I never cared about S ranks. I would try to get them, but I never cared about them. Like if I didn't get them within 3 tries, I would just move on. Except in the case of the Wii version of Unleashed, where I would get S ranks just to not have to go back for more medals. But you know, that's a different story. Plus, Unleashed S ranks require more than time. What's so fun about this game's S ranks, is that they're time-based. And in the past, I've had a problem with that. Because, hear me out, because they weren't utilized in a way that felt like it was built for, like, speedrunning. Now, I will be the first to admit, there are a few cyberspace stages that are really jank, and I would never go back to play. I would never even try to S-rank or anything on. There are a few of them. But the ones that I've mastered enough to S-rank and get all the red star rings on, not necessarily in the same run, but I've managed to do both on because I mastered them, those stages literally feel like they were built for speedrunning. And it makes, like, well, not necessarily speedrunning like the kind of speedrunning that people do where they, like, do certain skips and stuff. I know people do that in cyberspace levels, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm specifically talking about these levels feel like they were made for, like, going as fast as you can. Despite Sonic stopping on a dime and the bit of jank, those kind of feel like the extra obstacle you need in place of the score and stuff affecting your S rank. I think these levels were designed really well for a timer-based S rank. And I think in the next game, if they reuse the idea of cyberspace levels, not necessarily the cyberspace levels, like, obviously I think they do something else to, like, justify whatever levels they use, then, you know, it'd be fine. Like, I think they do better, because this right here feels like a stepping stone. Everything in this game feels like a fantastic stepping stone. And that's what I'm getting at with my argument here. That's why I've said that Tails needs a little bit of work, but I think this is the best he's ever been written. That the cyberspace levels have jank and all this stuff, yes, but they're satisfying the S rank, and there are a few that I don't really like. What my whole point is, this game is a huge-ass stepping stone. This game feels like what Sonic Adventure was to Sonic Adventure 2. What Unleashed was to Generations. I was about to say Colors, but let's be real. Unleashed is a big step up from Colors. And I think Unleashed is better than Generations 2, but I feel like it was also a step towards Generations, which is the argument I'm getting at. Like, literally, Frontiers feels like what Sonic 1 was to Sonic 2. What Sonic Adventure was to Sonic Adventure 2. What Unleashed was to Generations. A stepping stone. A big-ass stepping stone. That was a really good game in its own right, but was able to, produce a more solid game. Now, I'm not necessarily going to say better, because I think, like I said before, I think Unleashed is better than Generations. But, in the other two cases, I do like SA2 and Sonic 2 much better. But we're not getting there. But, what I'm getting at is I feel like this is a big stepping stone. I feel like the next game is going to be to this game what SA2 is to SA1. I think it's the best way I could put this. And that's why I love this so much. I love the direction they're taking this. I love that this game did well, because now Sega's going to be like, okay, Sonic Team, you did your thing. We're going to give you a little more freedom on the next project, give you a little more support, because you guys did wonderful. We're going to stop being assholes and let you do what you want to do with this direction. I think that's what Sega's going to be like. Because let's be real, I think the reason Sega's been so hard on Sonic Team is because of Forces in Lost World. I think that's literally it. And I think now that Frontiers did really great, like has done amazing, Sega will probably do like a U-turn and be like, okay, you guys did your thing. Okay, I see you. We got your back, homies. This next game, we got your back. We're going to give you the resources you need. We're going to give you more people to work on the project. Now, I don't know about doing more time. You know, we're Sega. We don't be doing that delay bullshit. Like, we don't be doing that. But, you know, we'll give you support. We'll give you more manpower. We'll do that. That's what I think is going to go down. Which means the next game will be better. As long as they don't rush it out in 2 years or less. I can wait 3 or 4 years for the next Sonic game, if it's good. For the next Maidlight game, at least. Especially if they release a spin-off in the middle, which I think they will do. I think they'll outsource it. But anyway, I'm going to end off the video here, so bye!
Game over!